Welcome to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. Now here's your host, Tim McMahon.
Hey, it's Tim. It's Friday. That means it's time for our weekly headline roundup. This is where I take all the headlines of Star Wars news that caught my attention this week, and then I give you my quick thought or opinion. If you're looking for in-depth discussion and dissection of all these events, well, you've turned to the wrong podcast. There's 100 other great shows out there. Go find them. This is Less Than 12 Parsecs. I only have 5 minutes or less. Here we go. Rogue One became the biggest film of the year. That's right. Well, for 2016, not 2017. This week, Rogue One made enough at the box office to surpass Finding Dory. Rogue One's business is still going strong. Those numbers are just going to get bigger. Congratulations, Lucasfilm. I think 4 of the top 10 films now of all time are Star Wars films? That's pretty crazy. Speaking of Rogue One, it was announced that the Marvel Comics adaptation of Rogue One will be coming out soon, and it'll have scenes cut from the film. We as Star Wars fans know all about the gossip and rumor and the stories of all the reshoots and all the stuff that was filmed and then cut. So it looks like we'll be seeing some of that cut stuff, not on the screen, but in the pages. Pretty cool. Speaking of the screen, can you believe it's been 20 years since the special editions? Wow, 1997, January, A New Hope was re-released. Say what you will about the special editions, it was awesome to see those movies on the big screen again. And heck, if nothing else, they've given us something to bicker about amongst ourselves for 2 decades now. 20 years. Oh my God, I feel so old. Speaking of really old, this is not quite news, but it's been making the rounds this week. A few months back, maybe a year or so, I can't remember how long ago, someone released audio they had recorded in the theater in
1977
at a showing of Star Wars, and you can hear the crowd going crazy as the Death Star explodes. Well, someone took that audio, and I'm surprised it took this long for someone to do this. They took the audio and they synced it up to the film. It's like a time machine. You're back in 1977 watching Star Wars, and wow, it's pretty cool. There's links in the show notes, and you can find the video at TwelveParsecsPodcast.com. In more modern news, video game news, publisher EA has announced that Kim Swift has joined Motives Studio, which is helping Visceral Games with the highly anticipated Star Wars game coming out soon. That may not mean a lot to many of you. It doesn't mean that much to me, but Kim Swift was one of the major forces behind the games Portal and Left 4 Dead. 2 of my favorite video games of all time. I don't get to play games as much as I used to, but those games were great. They were replayable, they were fun, and hopefully Kim Swift will bring some of that magic to the Star Wars universe. A bit of news that could be video game news, but no, it's real life. Apparently, the U.S. Department of Defense has successfully tested a small-scale prototype hover bike. What does that mean? It means speeder bikes are going to be real and soon. And yeah, maybe just for the military now, but you know eventually we'll be able to get our mitts and paws on that tech. Can't wait. Some tech you can get your hands on now is the dating app Tinder. What does this have to do with Star Wars? Well, there was an article in Vogue magazine that said, and I apologize, I didn't read the whole article, just the first paragraph or 2, but it said, if you're on Tinder and you wear a Star Wars t-shirt, you have a better chance of getting a date. I'd like to test this out, but my wife just won't let me download that app. If you're young, single, and on Tinder, try it out. Post some pictures of yourself wearing your best Star Wars t-shirts and see if you attract a mate. And speaking of mates, as I told you before on the show, when I was a young child, that Carrie Fisher was my invisible girlfriend. Sadly, we lost Carrie Fisher recently, but people are still celebrating her life. In fact, at Celebration Orlando, there's going to be a night all about celebrating Carrie Fisher. The event is called Drowning in Moonlight. It'll take place on April 13th at 7:30 p.m. at the Rosen Center Hotel. You can get tickets at Eventbrite. It looks to be a pretty cool way to celebrate Carrie's life and everything she gave us in the Star Wars universe. I unfortunately am not going to Celebration, but if you go, this may be something you want to check out. Yeah, I'll put links in the show notes so you can get tickets if that's what you're into. And last but not least, not really news, but it's circulating a lot this week on social media. A deleted scene from The Force Awakens, which I believe was on the 3D Blu-ray release. That's a scene of Chewbacca tearing the arm out of the socket of Unkar Plutt. Plutt? I don't know. We've been hearing about Wookiees do this all the way since 1977 in the original Star Wars, and it looks like we almost got to see it on screen in 2015 with The Force Awakens. My opinion, after watching this scene, and I'm glad they did cut it, because it doesn't live up to my imagination. I expect to see a Wookiee all enraged, going berserker, ripping the arm out of the socket, and the arm not coming easy, but in this scene, it's like Chewie just steps in, pop, out comes the arm, and he flings it across the room. I don't know, maybe Ungar Plut is of some sort of reptilian race that, like those salamanders who can pop their tails out when they're trapped. I don't know. Like I said, it was a bit of a letdown, so I'm glad they cut it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out 12parsecsPodcast.com and I'll put the video there. Well, those were the headlines that grabbed my attention this week. Was there anything that caught your attention that I didn't mention? Let me know. Email me at 12parsecs.podcast@gmail.com or connect with me on social media. You can find all my links at 12parsecs.podcast.com. Until next time, thanks for listening. Houdini!
What you brought me today is worth 1/4 portion.
You've been listening to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, part of the expanded Fandomverse network of shows. For links and show notes, visit our website, 12parsecsPodcast.com. Follow Less Than 12 Parsecs on Twitter at 12parpod, on Instagram at 12parsecsPodcast, on Tumblr at 12parsecsPodcast, and find us on Facebook as well. And please let us know what you think. Email us at 12parsecsPodcast@gmail.com.